Hello everyone and welcome to me. Yes, right, I'm here. They've dragged me in the commentary box. This is my first ever stream. Welcome to Untitled Racing. Welcome to ACC. Welcome to Brands Hatch. Here we are at round number 3 of 5 here today on the 11th of the lovely August. We are here for ERT Brands Hatch, of course, for what is going to be a race because there is 10 of us here. So that means there is more than enough people to be here. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything is going to be good, of course. Here at the lovely Brands Hatch. 9 corners, 4 out of 5 of them are beautiful. 3.9 kilometers, that is 2.428 miles. The lap record around here, a 1 minute 23.2 for what is going to be a 60-minute endurance race, 20 minutes of qualifying and a 10-minute practice as well. Now, let's get on with the interesting thing. That, of course, is going to be all of our lovely things, of course, which you can see here. Now, don't forget, by the way, if you are new here, to hit subscribe, the follow button, and all your lovely bits and bobs as well. But the crucial thing here is we get into this race. Now, let's see if everything works. And indeed, it seems like it does. So, we have good news. The broadcasting mode is working, as far as I am aware. Indeed, it is working. So good that we've got everything up and working. Now, unfortunately, I should be able to go into this. And everything is indeed working. So we do have cameras here today. Now, hopefully, it's not too loud, which is a good thing. We have got 10 drivers on this circuit here today. And I mean, right now, we have got, of course, a few cars. And some of them have their liveries, it seems. So it looks like I figured something out. Because some cars have liveries on. This is good news, because I was talking to someone earlier on. They said that the liveries might not work, but they do. It seems that, well, there is liveries. I don't know if they're the right liveries, but there is some kind of form of livery. It seems Dexter's livery hasn't worked, neither has Apex. So no, Apex livery has worked. So some of them have worked. Some of them haven't quite so worked. So there is progress here today with liveries, which is the slightly good thing as well. So we have got liveries. Everything is all nice and dandy. So excellent. And of course, also we're just getting ready to go in just over 3 minutes to go. And that is before qualifying begins, of course. Whilst we look through all of the circuits. And of course, Brands Hatch, this is the GP circuit, of course. This circuit used to be run in reverse back in the day. Back in the early 1950s and all the way into the 60s, ran in reverse. Of course, that was around the Indy layout. The GP layout didn't come into force until I think it was 1961. Off the top of memory. That is, of course, when the circuit we see today came into form, and of course they ran around this version as well. The only real difference on this circuit, back in the 1990s, they had a little bit of a chicane out of this left hand, well, this right hander here, down into Dingle Dell. That used to be a chicane back, of course, where I've seen so many accidents before. It's a little unknown fact, but it didn't last very long, that chicane, from memory serves. It has been quite a while since I did race around Brands Hatch as well. So let's see what they can do as we go and ride on board with Mr. Apex right now. And hopefully all the audio isn't too loud for everyone. If it is, do let me know and I will turn it down, because I have no idea still about the audio settings on this game. If they're right, if they're not right. So I'm kind of going for the second guess if it is working. But if it's not, of course, then let me know. So I get everything up in the background as well. And good to see, by the way, that we are definitely live as well. So that is good to see. And and I definitely seem audible. So there is good news. Now, do let me know if I need to turn my volume up in the chat. And I will do that as well. If not, then it should be relatively good to see. We have just got 1 minute to go before the race is underway. And of course, Brandt Hatch, of course, one of the world's most iconic sporting venues. The Kent Circuit is visited by a wide variety of championships in recent years, including the European DTM Series, which is, of course, the world's fastest GT series, of course. Does actually pretty much run GT3 cars nowadays, so it might not be quite loud, of course, as well. Does, of course, run the GT World Challenge, of course, and the British GT Open. The BTCC come here quite a lot. So I used to host Formula 1 back in the olden days. So I used to hold the European Grand Prix for quite a few years as well. So, I mean, it's quite an interesting circuit, to be honest. First opening its doors in the 1940s, my apologies, this circuit. So, in 1940, this circuit came to be. 2.6 kilometers, of course. More recently, a bit up to a little bit to a few bit longer. So it does change ever so slightly, but it's relatively been around the 2.4 mile length. Once I quickly just turn my audio up just a tiny little bit, so hopefully that seems a little bit better, just slightly higher up on the audio. Of course, I do apologise if I do sound a little bit rusty. This is very much my first ever attempt at this on PC. It does seem like it's working though, which is the key. It is the key thing. It is working. It's not blown up in everyone's faces. I say that as immediately stopping and returning to the pit. Then there is Mr. Bradley. So first of everyone here, we got Christensen down in 8th position, who just crossed the line, goes 4th in the livery. It isn't a livery because it doesn't really exist, but that's not to mind too much either. So a few little niggling issues on my end because I haven't got all of the liveries in. So of course the Audis don't have their liveries. I think everyone else does have some form of livery. So that is the key. That is the good thing. We do have liveries on some cars at least, as we now get ready to go in qualifying, of course, for what is going to be 20 minutes of qualifying, and then of course we have a 1 hour endurance race ahead of the drivers, and we are now officially on running. The first car coming out of the pit lane, that looks like it's going to be Michael Goch in the BMW then. So the BMW straight out on the circuit indeed. As looking at this, I don't know how to get rid of that. Let's see, do I go driving and get to it? There we go. So figuring things out as we go along, which is all good to see. As we now get back all running, everything's up indeed. So first car on circuit, and let's see what they can do around here as well as we come down one of the longest circuits in the motorsport world. I mean, it's one of the longest, one of the longer ones in the UK. It is, I think, it's slightly longer than Snetterton. It is, of course, shorter than the likes of Silverstone. Thruxton, one of those circuits, which is a lot shorter. Thruxton, one of my more favourite circuits, to be fair, to watch and race at, of course. Quite a short circuit, quite fast and flowing. It's indeed actually probably one of the fastest circuits in the UK, of course. One of the oldest circuits as well. That is Brooklands. That, of course, doesn't run anymore. Indeed, I think Brands Hatch, apart from Donington Park, which is in the 1920s, I think Brands Hatch, one of the most recent of the circuits to be raced as we now go for a nice lap indeed with Mr. BMW. So they come down then into Paddock Hill, down Pilgrim's Rise up to Druids End, and this is the first opportunity to really get your braking marker correct. Very easy to lock up and snatch a reel as you come out of Druids down towards Bottom Bend, and then of course the bottom straight as well, the long left as you get on the power all the way up then on the exit, and now down into the South Bank, of course, And it's so easy one of this corner to go off, of course. That more commonly known as Surtees, in fact, as well. Surtees, the more accurate nose, is now coming down Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorns, which to the right-hander are taking about 130 miles an hour as they chuck it through there. Car's going to stick just about on the X, indeed it does. You now come up into the Westfield corner up towards Dingledale, and this one of the most fantastic sections on this circuit, rising himself down into Sheen Curve. Right-hander, just about getting in there as well, down into Sterling. The left-hander, of course, I think it might be named after Sterling Moss. Down clearways up to the Clark Curve, of course, named after the legendary Jim Clark, and then back down the Brabham Straight as well, where Jack Brabham lost a race here in 1971. One of 3 races that year he won. He lost Monaco in very similar circumstances, lost here as well in a series that he could have won the world title. Of course, Jack Brabham, one of only 2 drivers to have won pretty much in 3 different decades in Formula 1, the other one being Lewis Hamilton as well in 2000s, 2010s, and in the 2020s as well. So we'll maybe see that in the future from other drivers, but so far we've got drivers on this circuit, and what definitely would love to be the likes of David O'Hart. He's so far on P1 so far by a comfortable margin, it looks like, for him. He's got a 1 minute 23.7. Next car along, a 1:24.6 for them. So a big gap between first and second position. But that's not to be too much, of course, in terms of who can do what in the race. As it looks like Apex there I think he's noticed what I've noticed, that some cars don't have their cars on. That being Dexter. Who else have we not got liveries on? We've got David O'Hart hasn't got. I think it's all the Audis haven't got liveries on. No, they haven't got the liveries on because Apex has got his livery on. I don't know why some of these guys don't have liveries on, while some of them certainly do. It's a bit interesting. I'm not quite sure what has happened there. As we ride on board inside Harry Hottie then in the number 2 car. And let's see where he can go. Sorry, in the number 22 car then of Harry Hottie. As he now comes up through Dingledale down into the right-hander of Sterling. And it's so easy to snap to break, so easy to go wide then as you now come up through into Sterling, down clearways up towards the last real corner on this circuit. Now that there, the Clark Curve, and gets it all nice and stopped for him, which is all good as well. And in fact goes straight into the gravel trap on the topic of that as well. Gets himself back going. So a small mistake there from them going into the gravel trap. That won't probably be ideal for them going in the gravel trap. But they carry on. They'll get themselves back going again. Regroup and they'll go back for it so far. But like I said, David O'Hart still with pole position from Michael Gow. Patrick Dehen is currently in 3rd ahead of Taylor Bradley in 4th. Klaus Christensen so far in 5th. He's currently on a lap time on the outboard camera. Then from the sky we can look at the black Audi then. The Audi R8. I think it's the Evo car if I'm not too mistaken of the ERT team. Up to the line. Let's see where he can most certainly go. He would certainly love to be on front pole position. He does not go on pole position. A 1:25.6 for him. Puts himself over 2 and a bit seconds behind David O'Hart, who is been so far incredible in this qualification. He is really showing his full pace today. As trying to get the cameras to change. I will say it is quite difficult to use. I hope that everyone does enjoy this. Like I said, first ever attempt on ACC. First real stream for me in GT racing since 2020, so it's been quite a long time, but I will admit, watching GT cars fly around is probably one of the most enthralling actions you'll see. David O'Hart a little bit wide in turn number 1. That might be a slight invalidation, but he might get away with it as well, so as long as he does, that'll all be good. Second position still Michael Goch, 3rd still Patrick, and then of course down the rest of the field. Bit of a gap then between 6th position, pretty much a close battle between 6th, 7th and 8th. Then we've got George Hull, who has yet to set a lap time as well as Vidolek Dolovarak. as we see George coming across the line right now. Let's see what Mr. Hall can do. Across the line right now, I think doesn't set a valid lap time. Vijorak is on a lap as well. Let's see what the Team Shazoo liveried car can do. I do apologise for any names. He's backed off his lap time, actually, as well. So, Victor on lap time, and the number 777 Audi. In fact, we'll go right on board with the Audi if we can get a nice onboard camera. There we go. In the onboard cockpit camera, we go as well, and we can get all the nice things. So we can get the HUD up so we can see what's going on. We got the timetable up. We've got lots of options here that I haven't really used too much. Indeed, we can see the track. Maybe see where everyone is as well. So there's a lot of things here which I've not really been so commonly used to seeing, which we're getting used to as well. But I'll tell you what, let's see what Mr. George Hall can do. He now comes down into the right and a little bit loss of brakes, a little bit wider. Might have invalidated his lap time if he wasn't too careful at 4 PM in game time. Yellow flag somewhere on the circuit, so someone's gone off somewhere. And we are back green. So far, it's not looking too bad for George. Now, up to the line. Let's see, can he get himself near the front? He would certainly love to this time around. He does a 1:28.2, so a couple of seconds off the pace. Meanwhile, let's see if the cameras will switch. There we go. They will switch, of course, eventually to the Team Shazoo livery. That is of Vijorak Dodovak. As he comes into the last corner, into the right, and let's see where he can go then as he chucks himself on the outside. The Audi V8 powered car, of course, the Audi R8 up to the line, and let's see where he goes. And it's 1:24.0. He sorts himself into provisional second position so far, 6 tenths ahead of Michael Gall, 3 tenths behind David Oak, so that's a very respective lap time for him. Harry Hottie on a lap time as well. He is up a little bit of grass on the exit. That's not going to help his lap time. In the grass he goes, and that is not going to be improved. He was up on his lap time before then. Doesn't look like he will be up at the end. A little bit up for the likes of Michael Goch, but he's off the road as well. Klaus Christensen so far in 4th, so he's coming back through the order again. As they chuck it into the right, down into the left, into Stirling corner before you head up towards the Clark curve. The final corner on this circuit as well. And it's going to be quite a crucial thing to see where he gets himself. The man who has often been very good from memory serves in racing. Would dearly love to be on that pole, like I said. He is well, literally is down by nothing. As he crosses the line, does he improve? No, he does not then. So 1:25.0 for him on that lap time. As we look to see who is currently coming through the last couple of corners on their lap time. Damien Wilk up to the line. Let's see where he can go. And he crosses it right now. Does improve a little bit, but not by enough to jump him up too many positions. Still so far going well. Klaus Christensen in the pit lane. We've got Dahan on a lap time. We've got Bradley coming through Hawthorns right now. He's just come out of Dingledale down in towards the corner. Which is so... I keep forgetting this corner name. It is... As I get the wrong screen up. That corner, it is. That was Sheen Curve down in Stirling's and down towards Clark Curve. I will eventually get all these corner names noted down in my brain because it's so hard to remember. It's basically, I haven't commentated around here in such a long time that I know quite a lot of those corners, like Paddock Hill down into Druids, Graham Hill into Graham Hill Bend and Surtees, and of course up to Hawford. After that, it all comes a blur for me. Saying that, bit too much curb into Paddock Hill Bend for the Audi. Now down into 6th position for Bradley. Like I said, it is David O'Hart on pole so far. Yeah, like I said, so far, so well for everyone. So, I mean, it's going quite well so far. As I was just doing some audio checks, I think you can hear the in-game audio as well. I'm not 100% certain if you can. I don't know if I've got everything set up correctly on there. I think I have. So I think I've got the audio set up correctly. I'm not 100% certain if it is working to full volume. So let me just quickly ask the chat. So hopefully everything's working. Hopefully you can hear the game audio, because that'll be quite awkward if it's not working. They'll have to fill out what button on here it is, because of course, like I said, still quite new to doing OBS. This is, like I said, my first stream running, so there is going to be some minor little tingly issues here and there, but I think, like I said, it should be working a-okay. Into the pit lane, David O'Rourke yet again. Then for his final stint then today in qualifying. Just over 5 minutes to go. They probably will get one, maybe just 2 laps in. And I think that might be the last real laps in qualifying for each of them. Christensen so far down in 4th. Up a few temps, Taylor Bradley in that car. Harry Hottie also up a few temps on his. He is up by 0.05 on his lap time so far. So let's see what he can do. Best of 126.2 for him. And it's looking good. Last lap was a 126.3. So up and down, a little bit yo-yoing right now for the drivers. But I think he might just be up with 4 minutes to go in qualifying. Coming into the last corner. And let's see, up to Clark. Through he comes down at the Brabham Straight, and for the second time, he goes and touches the grass on the exit of that one. That's not going to be the ideal line. You want to take a bit more tighter up to the pit wall. Does cross the line there. 125.8 does improve a little bit more then. So let's see what the cars behind got the Porsche, the sole Porsche in this race so far. Across the line goes the Lamborghini at 129.0 for him. So a long way down on his lap time. Klaus, the only driver on a lap time so far in the top group. As he now comes down into the last corner, into the right and all the way up to the line. And let's see if he can himself on provisional pole position. Still can't, stays 4th. Indeed, I've just had a check. You can't hear the audio now. I don't know what button it is to get the audio working. Now, I should have it all working. It's not muted. No, I'm not quite certain what I've not done right. As I quickly just have a check to make sure that everything is on. So slight technical nibby right now, so do hold for a second whilst I quickly check something. Slight issue. Just a slight minor issue right now. Hopefully I'll be able to rectify that pretty quickly. But like I said, still got David Oak on pole. So far things are still going good. Whilst I just have a look in the audio settings. Now, it's not picking up game audio, and I don't know what one it is that's not picking up the audio. Let's try that and see if that gets the audio up. Indeed, there we go, audio's up. Good news, everyone, I fixed the audio issue. A few minutes late because it was working, then it stopped working, but now we do have audio and the sound. So, progress, we'll have a race of audio. There we go, good news, everyone. Like I said, a few technical issues, but we're getting on top of it slowly. Like I said, OBS, it's a new thing for me to figure out, but we got it. I think we got it all working right now, so there we go. Indeed, I'll turn it down just a tiny bit to there, so it should be all audible as well. So I do apologise for that one, but now we have audio all working, as we now can go on all the onboards, and you can hear all the lovely sound of all the cars, which I said earlier on you could hear. And now you can really hear all the audio of all the cars, because it's all nice and loud and all figured out. So there we go, 19 seconds to go in qualify. It looks like everything has pretty much been set as is then. So David Oak on pole, unless anyone can beat him in the last dying seconds here in qualifying. Dexter up on a lap time right now. Klaus Christensen, as he comes through into the last couple of corners and up towards the line, he will come in just a few seconds time as he now breaks down into the right-hander into Clark Curve up the Brabham Straight and up to the line. Take a nice shallow as you do. And he does, takes it all the way to the inside. Does he improve? Can he get himself the order? Yes, he can. Up to P3 when it matters. He does improve. Anyone else on a lap time? Well, it's not them. Bradley's in the gravel. He's had a big off somewhere in the gravel. In the pit comes Wilk. Hoti not on a lap time. George Hall not on a lap time either. So that there looks like that is done. So, few technical issues, but we got there in the end. We are just waiting for qualifying to be done. Don't forget, by the way, to get into the chat and get interacted as well. And don't forget to use the hashtag OneHubRacing on Twitter as well for all your lovely news and keep up to date on everything indeed. So, there's that one. Qualifying is officially over. So we'll be getting back into the race in just a few moments' time. So I hope everyone is sitting nice and comfortably, all getting ready to go, because in just a few moments' time we'll be getting ready for here today. And I think we will have a formation lap. I'm not 100% too certain as I go into the game and drive. And there we go, we get everything back up and running again on my screen. So there we go. And don't forget, by the way, whilst we're here, we'll go through all of our sponsors. And, of course, to Next Level Racing, sponsorly providing prizes. Of course, Pure Sim Gear, sponsorly providing a pair of the Sim Racing gloves. To the driver, the most combined poles and fastest lap. To Gamergoo, sponsorly providing a pair of their Gamergoo samples, the trophy winners. To the partners, Vesperty, who partners the Go and Get Tough award. And do apologise right now, as all of a sudden next door are doing something loud. And apologise there for any audio issues next door. We're deciding to do some very loud cutting on the hottest day of the year. So I don't know why they do that. But just a few moments ago, we will be getting ready to go here for Silverstone? No, for Brands Hatch. So hopefully everyone is sitting nice and comfortably for that one. And quickly back to our sponsors, because I couldn't go through them, and to our partners. Oh, to Vespertine, partnered the part of Vespertine, who support our championship prizes. To ERT, the partner of the ERT Going Get Tough Award and League trophies. And to SimGrid, powered by SimGrid, who run our community platforms through their lovely platforms as well. Of course, you can go all that as well in the descriptions and what not. So, going to be getting ready to go in just a few moments time as well for here in Brands Hatch, which is 22 seconds on the clock. Last cars down on the grid. Like I said, do apologise for any background audio. So I had to close my windows and everything, so it's going to be very warm now in my room as we get ready to go for a 1 hour endurance race ahead of the drivers. And indeed, I think we are now away on our formation lap lens. So I believe only one formation lap ahead of the drivers before, of course, the full race begins. As the heat slowly rises above around me. And now, I will, like I said, apologise if I do slightly struggle a little bit. Like I said, I have had to close my window because the next door are doing some power cutting. Once we get back going soon enough, and hopefully I can bring you along for some lovely action indeed. Head of the drivers, and of course, like we said, 1 hour of racing. As we now come down up towards Pilgrim's Drop. And that will be for the first time this afternoon. Pilgrim's Drop down towards Hawthorne's Hill, of course, and then down into Hawthorne's themselves. And the crowd all enthralled, everyone above us all looking forward to it. And there will be 1 hour. I believe that equates to around about 30 to 40 laps, give or take. For 45, I'm going to say, your race leader should complete here. And like I said, pole position, that is, of course, the car of David O'Hawk on pole position. And like I said, Victor Wojciech in second. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Dorvact. I'm going to say Dorvac ahead of Klaus Christensen. Michael Gall in fourth. Patrick Dehen in fifth ahead of Jajam Willick in sixth. Taylor Bradley in seventh ahead of Harry Holty in eighth. Jean-Pierre Madaraki in ninth, and George Hall lining up the back in 10th. So, 2 by 2 by 2 they start to go then on the formation. That lovely to see. A little bit close in the background as one or two cars get a little bit close as they now get towards the final corner on this circuit then. And that Clark curve, and then down the Brabham Straight, and then we will be racing in just around about 10 to 11 seconds. Remember, got to keep them all nice and close. Got to make sure they get themselves all bunched up. Don't speed too quickly. Keep within the speed limit. And then just in a few seconds time, we shall be getting ready to go then in here in Brands Hatch, then round number 4. And 3, 2, 1. And we should be going around about now. And indeed, away we go then. Green flag is off, and away they go then. Looks like a very good start from David O'Hawk. Victor Borzak led down in second position. Hold station for the time being as they come down then into Paddock Hill Bend. Up to Druids for the first time. Anyone going to be taking a move up the inside? Looks like we've got one or two cars in the background going a little bit wide. Taylor Bradley up into fourth position there, as it looks like the telemetry a little bit glitched out on my end right there, but I think it should be relatively resetting as Finn goes on. And Finn is actually having a bit of a moment right now, so hopefully it will sort itself out as he comes towards Sector 1. But it says it does. David Ohak leads from Visitek in second. Klaus up to third, ahead of Taylor Bradley in fourth. Michael Gow in fifth, ahead of the 998, then a Patrick Dahin in sixth. Harry Hottie in seventh, ahead of Damien Wilk in eighth. John Pierre is in ninth, ahead of George in 10th. They now come down at the bottom of the circuit for the first time and then rise all the way back up the crest then. And this is exactly what we love to see then here in One Hub Racing. Only 10 cars ahead of us, but 10 certainly cars that are going to be finishing this race. Most certainly we hope so as well. A bit of a bunch up, I mean, well, it looks like there between the likes of Michael Gohan and Patrick Dahin as they come down towards the last corner. A bit of a gap there, the two BMWs tripping over each other there. Meanwhile, Harry Hottie getting on the curb too much, and this might pronounce Wilk potentially to have a look up the inside down towards turn 1 beyond the outside line. Might try and squeeze one up the inside in towards Paddock Hill. Ben thinks better of it. Now drop themselves down, of course. Very easy to unsettle the cars down here, but they all keep each other on the island, which is what you love to see. And do apologise, by the way, if there are any drop frames. I've noted the 0.01, a little bit wide, meanwhile, for one of the cars, and that is Malatak going a bit wide there. And that's John Pierre going a little bit wide on the exit of down towards Surtees. Benders has now come back up the hill, and I will say it is getting very hot very, very quickly right now in my room. And we shall carry on our merry way. Second position, Velak Dovarak in seconds. He comes down the hill, but so far David Ohak's doing exactly the start he needed to do. They got off the line correctly, and already he's got that gap a little bit opened up as they come down into Surtees, down towards the Clark curve for what is now the third time this afternoon. And still Ohak leads the way further down the field. Still the BMW scrapping away between each other. Jean-Pierre down in 9th behind Damien Wilk in 8th. So those two line astern right now. George Hall dropped a little bit further back. He's down in 10th position. But it's the top two as they are, as things stand so far. The top two, which in terms of the standings, by the way, in terms of the championship, we'll have a little quick look at that in a few moments' time. As I'll have a look, see if I can get the grid up for that. I think I was sent it earlier on, so let me have a little look quickly to see. And indeed, the standings, they come into this race. Dan Varianto Myers leads this championship by, well, he's on 20 points so far. Michael Goch in second on 17th. Klaus Christensen in third. Victor Dvorak, I'm gonna say that, in fourth. Taylor Bradley in fifth, ahead of Nikos Hadshake in sixth. Damien Wilk in seventh. Harry Hottie in eighth. Patrick Dahin in 9th, Rafael Perella in 10th, Jean-Pierre Martaraka in 11th, Jean-Pierre in 11th, David Ohak in 12th, Russ Blake in 13th, Ryan O'Sullivan in 14th, Nathan in 15th, George Hull in 16th, and Warzorik Kilaka, I think is how you pronounce it, down in 17th position, respectively, for them. So that is your standings for that so far. Whew. As we continue getting on our way, still a battle looks like potentially between the two Audis then, and these two boys are always something to look at then. Klaus Christensen and David Bradley, third and fourth position so far in this race. And these two, by the way, lovely bunch of drivers. One's got an accent which I can't understand too much. The other one's got an accent which I equally can't understand too much. But both of them are a very lovely bunch when I can understand them. as we continue on down into the bottom of the circuit and on to another lap. 54 minutes to go here today. And no opportunities so far. Real opportunities around this. That's going to be turn 1 and 2. Maybe down into Hawthorns if you're brave. And of course, apart from that, there's not really any key overtaking opportunities around here. Unless you are willing to take a pot shot. In which case, anyway, it's an opportunity. Meanwhile, it looks like potentially Michael Goch and Patrick Darehead might getting a bit closer. And here is one of the opportunities down the inside in towards Druid, and up the inside goes the BMW on the number 22 BMW, and I think he's got the job done on the exit. Yes, he has the number 83. Then ahead of the 22, behind them the number 21 lurking in the shadows, and 24 not too far back, going off the road as I say that as well. Hartlope still leads this race from Klaus in second. Bradley still in third. Just how about holding on to that little gaggle of cars right there as well. I mean, he's getting so close then behind that car ahead, that of Klaus Christensen. And is there any opportunity between these two to have a little battle? Where's the first opportunity to get past? Well, it's down into turn number 1 if you get a good exit out of the last corner and get a good slingshot down towards turn number 1. But it's so difficult to pass down into turn number 1. If you've got the run, you can go up the inside, but I think a little bit too far back to have any opportunity. Stay put for the time being. Remember, you have to do a mandatory stop at some point during this race. I think it is after the 50-minute mark, and I think it's between 50 and 10 minutes. You have to do one mandatory stop this afternoon. Indeed, we most certainly will be seeing at least one stop for most of the drivers, if not all of them. But it looks like Taylor Bradley just about holding on to that one, a little bit dropping back ever so slightly, but he's still there, but he's not too far off either. There his feet continue to stand then. These two still line astern. David O'Hark, meanwhile, leading this race. Klaus Christensen down second, so I missed something somewhere. Have I missed something somewhere that I haven't seen? Because all of a sudden he's in second, as I quickly had to take a quick drink. Michael Goch now in third. Patrick Darehead in fourth. As we look down through the grid order, George Holdown in last position. Have I missed something somewhere? Potentially. Looking at lap times, it looks like everyone was reasonably even on their lap times. So, someone's dropped it somewhere. It's gone off the order, which I just can't see for some reason. But like I said, David O'Hark leads this race now by 7 seconds from Klaus Christensen in second, and then Bradley in third. Goch now in fourth position. And then we've got Dehen in fifth. Josevac's the one who's dropped down, I think, actually. Yes, Josevac's the one who's dropped down the order. So he's now down in sixth position. So he's the one that's dropped. And indeed is battling with one of the cars. And that is going wide, actually, Josevac. I think it was that the Audi passing ahead. Actually, no, that Josevac glaring the Audi. The BMW right behind of Patrick Dehen. Oh. No, small mistake between those two. Sixth position behind, like I said, that is Dehen. Harry Hottie down in seventh. Behind them, we've got Wilk and then John Pierre in ninth. George Hill at the back of the grid so far. And it is O'Hark leading this field away with 49 minute to go. As we carry on then, as I'm doing my best in nearly 35-degree room temperature right now. I've had to close my window because next door are doing some stone cutting, which is really not what we needed to do right now in this heat, but they've decided to do it anyway. As I'm going to go mute for just a few moments time. We'll keep doing the camera work, but I just need to catch my breath. Now, bits, I do apologise for that one. As I return then, so far we've got David Wilk right behind Harry Hottie down in 7th and 8th position. Top of the road, Patrick Dahen just not too far away, and you can just see these three slowly closing on. That's the three there battled so far between those guys. Doverac slowly closing up. Last lap time just a couple of thousandths quicker than Michael Gong. No one though keeping within a postcode range of David Ohak. He is running away with this race so far. Gap now up to 9.5 seconds in just over 10 minutes. And nearly 15 minutes. Incredible pace right now for them. As we continue to push harder and harder then around this circuit. And what has been an incredibly beautiful afternoon, I must say, here in Brands Hatch. It's been it's almost as probably I imagine as warm. Track temperature 23 degrees, track 30 degrees C. So that's pretty much, that's actually cooler combined than what my room nearly feels like right now, I must say. But the show must go on, even if I do stop occasionally. We will have a stream of some description here today. And I do hope it does slowly drop temperature. Next door stop so I can open all my windows back up. David Bradley really closing up on the back of that car, and let's see if there's any opportunity down towards Durrett again. Far too far back to make any real opportunity into the Durrett complex. Indeed, he knows more about that than I do, and certainly decides not to try and take an audacious lunge. You can do it in some complexes and some cars, but into Druid, it's not really an opportunity. And this, you really get a slingshot and have caught the other car napping. There's no way through there. And in fact, it does look like David Bradley. It does look like, Taylor Bradley is the quicker car. 24.9 compared to a 25.3. Second quickest car on this circuit in the last couple of laps, it looks like. So he's got the pace as Bradley, as Apex. Let's see if he's got the pace, if he's got the outright strength to try and muscle past his former rogue teammate, to be fair. One of the stronger drivers in the league. That, of course, is Klaus Christensen, who I believe is doing a 24-hour race soon enough. So we'll keep an eye on that one. It's a little bit wide on the exit, goes Bradley, but continues on gripping up the circuit. Over down the road, and that is going off the road. Who's that? Is that Harry Hottie going off the road out the right? Yes, it is Harry Hottie. A small mistake right there as he drops it off the island. And that down on the exit of Surtees as he run up through the last corner. Up the Clark curve and down the Brabham straight. Now for what he's got. We've got 3/4 of an hour to go. Meanwhile, the battle now starting to form. We've now got Michael Goch getting into this one as well. So second, third and fourth position all closing up on each other. Now this is going to change the complex of this battle, because who really is going to be the aggressor in this one as we run on board then with the grunting BMW as they come down into Hawthorns, into the right hander. Car ahead, you can see both the Audis. Where do you try and make a manoeuvre then? And well, it's not going to be there if you go off the road. And there's a little bit of an issue right there. Oh. On the exit of Surtees, and now down into the last corner of this circuit yet again. And is he close enough? Is any of these guys close enough? Definitely not to get an opportunity down into the first couple of corners. No, still, as things stand, as I try to get the there we go, the cameras to work on the for that. It's a little bit slow. It's not really working as intended right now for me, but we keep an eye on this one right now. Up to though the lead up, and he's now got that gap to 11.2 seconds. He is checking out of this race, and well, there's been questions if he is going to be one of the quick drivers. There is the answer. Yes, he is very quick in this race. Second, third, and fourth, all still line astern, and this is the real battle to look out for, it looks like, on this circuit. Down into Hawthorns on the exit, build up the revs still, and just holding station as each other will do. And these guys continue to battle there as I just took another little drink break in the background. But Klaus Christensen still holding on to this second position. Or is he? Because he's gone a little bit wide on the exit of there. And this could potentially allow any opportunity for the cars just to sniff one. But still just a little bit too far back to get any opportunity down towards the real opportunity. But off goes Taylor Bradley. That's a bit of a mistake for him. He's on the grass. He's back on the road. No still opportunity behind for Michael Gold to get past. And they're just still stuck behind them. 40 minutes to go in this race. Are the tyres now starting to die? I'm wondering. Feels to be fine. The tyres are the one which will be taking the beating. Is now off the road goes Michael Cowell. Is he going to keep it on the island? No, he's not. He's dropped it into the wall. Michael Cowell hitting the wall then on the exit of Surtees corner. And that there a big issue for him. He drops one, he drops two. Sorry, out of Sterling's he drops it. Down into clear races, he's going to have to pit then for some damage. I think he might have just got away with just some light damage, if anything. But certainly a fair old whack on the Armco barrier for Michael Gall, who was looking very fine to be trying to get that third and second position. Well, no longer more. He's in the Armco barrier. And that there is going to prove dividends for his race. It's going to be a long recovery drive Let's see if he can get back into this race as things go on, but a small mistake for him, and that's going to cause big repercussions in the long term, but hopefully he hasn't got more damage than we think, as long as he stays there. In fact, he is now behind Michael Gull. He is ahead of Patrick Dehan. He's caught up Vitorek Dorvac so far back into 4th position. The man who started right up the front, a little bit further down the order, but he's doing a good job right now. He's holding on to positions, but he's gone off the road now. I say that and get a drive-through penalty. Well, well, well. I've seen that one from somewhere, from me speaking and something immediately happens. So, and he's off the road. He's gone straight on. What has happened for Victor Vitorek Dorvac? He's gone straight on. He's got an issue. Has he got some damage on the car? But he's certainly having some sort of issue right now, because he's all over the place. No grip. Into the pit lane he comes. Also in comes Michael Gull as well. But these two, they're having a real issue right now. A drive-through penalty for Vitorek Dorvac. Just as I say, he was doing well. He has an issue. And that there, unfortunately, not what he or any of us were hoping, as in comes, like we said, Michael Gull, to stop on his marks to get a new set of tyres on to go for the next 38 odd minutes. And surely you'll imagine that these top guys will start to peel in the pit lane in the next couple of laps as well. This race certainly is going to be on its head. As we continue on then, are we going to see your race leader dive down into the pit lane? Nope, stays out. What about 2nd and 3rd? Do they feel there's a necessary risk of coming to the pit lane now? I mean, there's no real loss for them. They've got a big enough gap behind, really, to... they might drop behind the likes of Dehan, but they should come out in relatively clean air if they do so. They're going to stay out as well, carry on their merry way, and just... They don't see any reason to pit just yet, because I don't think their tyres or fuel are dropping too rapidly off the pace. Last lap for them, 125.2s. I mean, it's 124.6 for your race leader. So, lap time's definitely starting to drop away now. 4th position there for the BMW. 5th for the Lamborghini. In 6th, the other Lamborghini. Then, of course, ahead of Victor Dorvac, who I can't actually see. The cameras aren't working, so I think he's still in the pit lane. Or is he retired from this race, I'm wondering? 9th and 10th, so I can't see Dorvac. He's in the pit lane. I think he has retired the car, potentially. So an issue for him. Meanwhile, your leader looked like a bit of a twitch for him then, as he got on the exit of Dingle Dell down into Sterling's, and now up towards the last corner on this circuit. And he's driven so far a reasonably beautiful race. The gap behind 14.8 seconds. I believe he's lapped a car as well. Michael Gull in between them. So he's driving a superiority race so far today. And this has been incredible to watch, I must say. Klaus Christensen still holding on ahead of Taylor Bradley. Then these guys still together. The Audi grunting down the straight at full power. And then I will say it's a beautiful sound to listen to. A bit wide for Bradley, but that won't mind too much as long as he doesn't get a drive-through penalty, which is always possible. Down with the brakes then, out of the next complex of corners in towards Sector 2 as they go down Clear Rays then, down Pilgrim's Drop out of Surtees, down Hawthorne Hill into, of course, Hawthorne's Bend, of course, named after Mike Hawthorne. He's tragically died in 1958, just after, of course, he won his world title, of course, for, I believe it was the Vanwall team, if my memory serves me correct. Yes, Vanwall 1958, of course, driving in a Aston Martin. And of course, tragically, it was the early, I think it was right at the beginning of 1959, he died. And of course, what the 58 title, Nat Corn named after his honour, as they come down to the Clark curve, down out of clearways, into another corner named after of course, Scottish racing legend, we'll say one of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest racing driver of his generation. In fact, of his time, maybe the only other one that could argue it, Fernando Alonso, in terms of achievement in multiple series, of course. Jim Clark, of course, tragically died at Hockenheim in 1968, driving in Formula 2 in simply horrifying conditions on that day. But meanwhile, we've got our own little hopefuls as they come out of Graham Hill Bend, another motorsport legend, down into Surtees, another one of those motorsport legends as well. So a lot of drivers here named after absolutely iconic drivers of British racing, of course. Quite a lot of them from Scotland, quite a lot of them Englishmen, but all of them are certainly British drivers of description. And of course, it's looking good right now. 33 minutes to go in this race. I might survive this one, you know, just about. The heat, like I said, it is incredibly hot right now. Like I said, I have had to close my window because next door decided, for some whatever reason in the heat right now, to do lots of power cutting whilst the wind's pointing in our direction. I don't know why, but nonetheless, that happens, I guess. So we'll live with it and we'll carry on our way. So like I said, if I do sound like I am dying, because I am dying right now, but I don't think I'm dying as much as some of the drivers are feeling right now. We are down to, I think, are we down to 7 runners in this race? Right now? No, we are down to, we still got 9 then. So we are missing Josevak right now in the pit lane, but everyone else still going. As lapping Hull is your race leader, O'Hart Glenn, and he is now got that gap up to 18 seconds. He is flying away with this race. And this is really incredible. Hello to Gazman in the chat. Whew. Slope still holding on to second position. That's how he's doing a good job so far, isn't he? Still holding on to Bradley. These two just can't be separated. They are stuck together like two friendly friends who just want to be with each other for the rest of time. To Kazman, I'm not surviving very well in this heat. Like I mentioned earlier on, I've had to close all my windows because next door are doing work now at this time of night, when it's the hottest part of the day nearly, in the evening. I've had to close my window. I can barely breathe, so I'm dying. I'm dying. How are you, meanwhile, Gazman? How are you, Gazman? Whilst we die slowly in this heat. Meanwhile, like I said, let's have a look through the rest of the field. Is there any battles going on? Harry Hottie down in 6th. Victor, like I said, in the pit lane will not be coming out, it looks like, for the rest of this race. Gal in 8th. George in 9th. He is in the pit lane for his scheduled stop as well. But these two still battling away. And I tell you what, these guys, they're bringing kind of the action, even though they're not really battling too heavily right now. As we look at the rear end of Dexter, my apologies, of Kraus Christensen. Gazm saying, I'm all good, thanks. Currently dying too. We'll be practicing Miami soon. Yeah, I'll be joining you on that, actually. In just a little bit of time as well. Of course, don't forget, One Hub is back for the first round of the season as well for the F1. From 6:15 all the way up to 8:30. So don't forget to check all that one as well. And something bad's happened with in my family. I hope everything's okay, Tropic. As well as I think, as we just seen, as Bradley just came in the pit lane. I was looking down. No, Bradley's in the pit lane. Don't worry, false alarm. In comes Bradley into the pit lane. Now, at least for an undercut strategy. To be fair, though, it's quite interesting to see. Now, Gazman, you might know this a bit better as well, because I think you do more GT racing than I do. Is the overcut or the undercut more powerful around here in these races? Because I can't actually remember off the top of my head. It's been so long since I did this. It's kind of a learning experience as well. Now, good news, by the way, like I said earlier on, that before the stream, I thought we couldn't get all the cameras working and everything. Now, all the liveries are pretty much, apart from I think 2, are not working. That is first and second, ironically, that aren't working. So that's a little bit of a shame, but I presume, surely, they're going to come in the pit lane soon enough. We are about half through this race. It would be a nice opportunity to come into the pit lane. There they are. And surely, a few seconds back, Gazman, I couldn't tell you, I've not raced an ACC and over yet. Fair enough. But let's see what Klaus can do as he comes down into the last corner. Is he going to pit? It would be a smart bet to pit. He thought about it, he twitched, decides against my abide to pit, and stays out for another lap then. And I don't know, where's Ohart going to be out of all of this? He's, did he pit? He hasn't the pit, there he is. I thought, where was he? There he is, in the pit lane right now. He should be coming out in just a few seconds time. And to Gazman, by the way, because he is in the chat, is the audio all good? Do I need to adjust anything, you reckon, for future? Indeed, I can do it on the fly here as well. But hopefully the audio is all good. As in comes Damien Wilk, Harry Hottie in the pit lane. The Porsche, the sole Porsche in this race, is he going to be coming in the pit lane as well? Nope, stays out. Bradley, it's going to find himself out a long way down the order. Out comes your race, well, your net race leader, to be fair. And where is Bradley going to be in all of this one, I'm wondering? He's a long way back, isn't he? 2 minutes 16.6. That's a pretty reasonable in lap, to be fair. 2 minutes 16 for David O'Hark as well. I can't see the tyres of the race. There's like a black... Yeah, the black box is to... because Luke told me to put a black box top of the screen because apparently it hides any stream sniping. I can't see the tyres. Let's see. Can I get the tyres up? Is it one of these buttons? Nope, it's not one of those buttons. Let's have a look then, shall we? So we see if we can figure out what the button is. Is it the basic HUD? It's not that one. We can have that one up, I suppose. Is that one we want? Dex? Gazman? I think that might be the one we're looking for. And that loses all our broadcasting mode. But we can have a look at that for the time being. For anything. We've got the timetable, which I don't know what it does. Multiplayer session, which I don't know what it does. That, which is a lot of weird things that I don't want to touch. So we'll go back to broadcasting mode right now. So everything is all nice and dandy. And we can see everything as I click the button I don't think I was meant to click. But like I said, yes, the little black bar on the top, that is to stop any potential stream sniping from anyone, because apparently sometimes you can see details there. But I think actually it looks all pretty decently, but I'll keep it on because that's what I was told is ideal to have at the top. There is 26 minutes to go. Pit window closes in just over 6 minutes time. And that will be for your top two. I tell you what, the undercut has worked here, to be fair, because look, Klaus is now behind Dexter, behind Taylor, so that's worked quite well between those guys. Up front, meanwhile, though, it is a humongous gap. 19 seconds now. 19 of them. That is a lot. You could do many things in 19 seconds, I reckon. I don't know. You could run down and put the kettle on and run back up, I guess, in 19 seconds. And you wouldn't be able to have and then you'd have to wait a little bit longer and then have another cup of coffee if you gain the gap back up 19 seconds. So there's a few things you could do in 19 seconds, some of which I don't know. But like I said, Taylor in second, Dexter in third, Michael now in fourth, Damien in fifth. That gap there with Patrick behind, and then, of course, that is Harry Hottie in seventh position. These three all close together. And there we go. So, drive-through penalty. Jean-Pierre as well. So he's another one. He's picked up a drive-through penalty this afternoon of 24 minutes and 30 seconds to go on your lovely clock. But up front, still leading this race, David O'Hawk. He's led this race pretty much from start all the way up till now. Did have one lap, but he and was in the pit lane, of course. Came back out and was still your net race leader. Hasn't really looked back since. Opening that gap up more and more and more. Lap time delta bar away between these two behind. This is the one we're kind of looking at to see what they could do. That's Klaus and Taylor. And their gap now is 5.1 seconds between the pair of them. It's really closing, it looks like, as well. So you might see them go battle later on in this race as things stand. 5.8, 5.7. It's a 1 minute 30 last lap compared to 1:25. That was their out lap, to be fair, as well. The fast laps equal as well. 1:24.5 and a 1:24.6. Last lap for Taylor Bradley. He crossed it right there. 1 minute 25.0. Klaus crosses the line at 1:25.0. So both of them setting near identical lap times. Further down the field, not too far behind, Michael Gall, who of course had that mistake earlier on. He is setting lap times of a 1:24.7, taking 4-5 tenths out per lap with 23 minutes to go, and the gap sitting at 12 seconds. It might be a stretch to say he could get up to the pair of them, but we'll see if they start closing up. Other battles going on in this race. We have got the two battles there, and that is David Wilk battling away with Patrick Dehen, then down out of Druids, down into Graham Hill Bend, and that is those two switching around. The Harry Hottie, I think, not too far hot off their heels. As they come down into Surtees, down towards the Pilgrim's Drop. And let's see if the Lamborghini's got any grunt in it to try and come back into this one. Indeed, I just don't think he's got the pace right now after that overtake to come back into this one. He's dropping a little bit back, but don't forget so easily to make a mistake around here. We saw it actually from his teammate, well, the sister BMW, Michael Gall, early on in the race, dropped it off the island. Klaus Christensen, though, still in third, and he has got that gap now down to 5.5. It's not really dropping too much. In fact, if anything, it's actually extending ever so slightly. A tenth here, a tenth there. So, Taylor Bradley looking like he's got a bit more pace in this race so far, and he's pushing on a bit by bit. But I just don't see anyone right now is catching your race leader. He is driving. It's like I said, an incredible afternoon for him. He has led pretty much from start to finish. As he comes down into the last corner right now, and like I said, it's looking pretty good for him as well. He has been the man on this afternoon's race, who has driven fantastically. There's been some ups, there's been some downs for all of them, but it's just been a good performance for them. Meanwhile, Patrick Dehen, we've got Damien Wilk as well. These guys together is off the road. And that goes Harry Hottie. A little bit wide on the exit of Hawthorns and drips it in the grass on the exit as well. That's not going to do the tyres too badly. Of course, it always looks like that car's got damage, though it doesn't. It's just the livery shows damage. Off the road goes Patrick Dehen there. He's gone off. He's gone wide. And now that allows through then Michael Gall. So that allows through Patrick Dehen. That allows Damien Wilk, my apology, through. Then the timing tower's not updated quite yet, but Damien Wilk now ahead of the number 998 BMW. Switching around then, a small mistake then, down out of Dingle Dell and dips him into the grass like we saw just a few minutes ago from Harry Hottie. And these small mistakes can prove very costly in this race. As we keep a little eye on this battle then between these three drivers, and Dehn really closing up on the back of Wilk on the exit of Surtees as they come down the straight. Is there any opportunity with 19 minutes to go to get an opportunity? It'll be brave. I don't think there's any opportunity. Well, it's definitely no, because that the Lamborghini, such grunt it's got out of the corners, just waltz off into the sunset. Into the braking zone. Definitely looks like the BMW's got more power on the brakes. But it's the exits, of course. Which that Lamborghini's been so good this afternoon. He's been able to pull out a bit of grip. But it's the brakes. It's brakes versus acceleration. And you can just see here, it's the kind of topsy-turvy battle you like to see. Looking back on top of the Lamborghini. Lambioti Raccoon Red team. And like you said, looking back, you can just see lurking in the mirrors, goes a little bit defensive, does Wilk. Didn't really need to do that too much, but he carries on. He's still got that gap. In fact, he's extended the gap a little bit more now. It's now to 0.6 of a second, so it's kind of working a little bit to his advantage right now. He's got the gap to what he needs. Dehn, no, he isn't too far behind either. Up front, meanwhile, Taylor Bradley, he's got a lap car behind him as well, and that is the lap car of, that is, I believe, is that Jean-Pierre? Yeah, Jean-Pierre down there at the back of the order right there. And meanwhile, Gal then in pretty much no man's land from Wilk, holding on to that position. They're just ahead of Patrick Dehn as well. So these two holding on to station right now. And this is turning into a little bit of an action right now, just at the dying stages of this race. Hopefully I haven't put the curse on it. But both of them are closing up. "17 minutes to go ahead of the drivers, as I'm going to quickly take a few minutes, well, a minute or two break temporarily. I'll keep you on board with Dehn as I quickly go and make another drink. as I return quickly to apologise for that one. Like I said, though, still David O'Hart leading this race. Second position, Bradley, though. It's now 6 seconds ahead of Klaus Christensen, so that gap continuing to open up with 12 minutes to go in this race. You're at 8:30 UK time. Then behind them, Damien Wilk in 5th. Patrick Dehen in 6th. As you can see there, those two still battling. Vidorek out of this race, of course. Hazy Hottie in 7th. So not too far back either from then. He's still in this battle for that 6th and 5th position battle. John Pierre down in 8th, and George Hall also out of this race as well. 8 runners still in this afternoon's race, but it's been a story of O'Hart, who's rather dominated this afternoon's motor race, pretty much from start all the way to now. Like I said, did have one pit stop where he came in and lost lead for just a few laps, but that wasn't really much to unsettle him, of course, because as soon as everyone else stopped, he was back in the lead as well. And is holding on to that one with fine form now, with over 26 seconds ahead. Last lap time, 1:24.7. Bradley, meanwhile, a 1:25.6. Gap behind, though, Christensen slowly closing that gap back up now, 1:25.4. So that gap continuing to close then. So as they slowly close back up and gaps open and close, it's turning into an interesting motor race. Over down the field. Let's have a look, see what's going on again between these guys. And it is now Harry Hottie closing back up onto this battle again then. So Harry Hottie, he is closing a little bit now. 0.9 seconds behind Lee Carr ahead of Patrick Dehen. So these two aren't too far away from each other. This is pretty decent performance, to be fair, from these guys. They are currently just 25 seconds ahead of being lapped. Your lap really shows your race leader's pace, but they're doing a good job holding on to each other. GT racing, of course, a very difficult series to stay close between each other. And they're proving it right now. It is still possible, even with the performance on the circuit. Like we said, that is not very easy to overtake, or in fact, get to overtakes as well. But they are doing a phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal job. 9 minutes to go. Well, I don't think we will be doing post-race interviews today because I am just a little bit too hot after this one. I do want to stop as soon as I possibly can, so I think interviews might not fully happen today. I think that might be understandable for reasons, but bit of a corner cut for Dehen, but they're staying on their orders. Actually, we might try and grab some of them in temporarily. I think we'll drag some of them in if they join the box later on. But like I said, look, it is very warm. I am overheated. But like I said, I am going to try and bring you as much and as good stream as I can. Hopefully you are enjoying it. I do apologise, like I said, for having frequent little breaks, but I kind of had to do it here and there. As you can see, Hottie really closing on the back of Dehen now then. 4 attempts to gap between these two. And Hootie has got the bit between his teeth. Was a little bit twitchy then for Dehen, but still holding on station for now. Let's see how long it will stay there. A little bit deep into the exit of Surtees, but that opens itself up on the exit. And let's see then, right close up. Is he going to take a look then up the inside? And he's going to be forced to the outside line. Down into Hawthorne's. Good placement there for Den, but has he got too much of a shallow line? It looks pretty decent on the exit. Hold station then. And still no way through for Harry Hottie. Can't get anything through, but in fact he's gone straight on. Hot eye, off the road then, he got Will on the grass. And straight off then, well, there's certainly no way through when that happens. And when I said that could have been an overtake, there was an opportunity straight off the road. And no opportunity at all then with 7 minutes to go, and that's surely that battle over. Up the road though, talking of battles, is there still an opportunity between these two? Bradley and Christensen. Not really. 25-4 to a 25-0. 4 attempts again this lap. But still, it's just not enough with what we've got. 3-4 laps to go in this race. It is not coming down quick enough. Christensen though, he's driven a fantastic race as well. So is Bradley. So is everyone, to be fair. If you are from the UK and you are warm, I don't blame you. It is extremely warm here today, where temperatures have risen to near nigh unbelievable temperatures. Good to see, by the way, as well, that OBS has been absolutely fine for me. So that is what we like to see. Doesn't look like any frame lag. Doesn't look like any issues. No, that is always a good thing to see. Still not long to go in this race. And still 6 minutes to go. That equates to what was a 1 minute 30 lap time around about. So we're thinking, what? 4 laps? Let's say about 4 laps to go in this race. So we look through, then I think pretty much all the action has kind of separated again. We've got another car in the pit lane then. So that is Jean-Pierre as he's pitted. Hopefully he gets himself back out on the circuit, as that might be our 3rd retirement of this afternoon. Yeah, I think actually he's still in the pit lane. I thought for a second he came out, but indeed still in it. So 5 minutes to go. 3 runners in this out of this race, but still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them still in this race. If Jean-Pierre is still in it, in fact he is still in the pit lane, so hopefully he hasn't got too severe damage and he can rejoin to finish the race. That's what would be lovely to see. Bradley still 2nd. Christensen still 3rd. Go still 4th. Up front, David O'Hawk leading this race, and like we said earlier on, he has not put a foot wrong. Does come off the circuit ever so slightly here and there, but other than that, though, apart from the slight track extension, doesn't seem to have pinged him any penalties. Hasn't done anything wrong. 4 minutes to go, 3 laps from memory serves for him. And then he will bring home a lovely drive from him as well. Three minutes to go. Gap is still remaining as is then pretty much throughout the rest of the field. Michael Gall still in that 4th position. No one really close enough to battle. The closest battle, like we said, Damien Wilk, Patrick Dohan there. We've got Harry Hottie not too far behind as well. Good to see, by the way, that Jean-Pierre has got his car back going again then. So after presumably a long repair time for hitting the wall of some description, which we've clearly missed somewhere earlier on, he is back going. Wind 0 kilometers an hour, by the way, as well. So no issues with wind, with track temperature now up to 31 degrees track temperature. And what has been a enthralling afternoon's drive for a lot of the drivers. 2 minutes to go then, so we will have 2 laps. Lap 40 then. Earlier on I said around about lap 4. What lap did I say? 43, 44 laps I reckon. We're not going to be far off it. We're on lap 40 if you're a race leader. 2 minutes to go, so that is 2 added laps. So that's not a bad estimate from me, to be fair, all things considered. As we now watch then your race leader for the final time this afternoon. We'll go on board with your race leader. Actually, we haven't really looked on board with him. And there he is then in the cockpit of the race leader. Led pretty much all of this race. Like I said, pretty much, well, we'll say has led all this race, to be fair. Hasn't put a foot wrong. 1 minute 30 to go, and the concentration in that car immense then. Yeah, but the inboard camera is showing as he comes down then. The Audi team looking to make it a 1-2-3 this afternoon. As we now will be on, provisionally, if memory serves me correctly, final lap of this race for David O'Hart, who has been faultless. Absolutely faultless. Final lap will begin, if I'm correct. There might be one more after this one, if the game gives us another lap, but I think this will be the last lap for all of the drivers. And, hello, what's happening here? Is the race leader slowing? What's going on here? Has the race leader got an issue here? Or have I missed something? He's certainly slowing. He definitely looks like he's going a little bit slower than he is meant to be. In fact, it looks like he's almost cruising the car, but the gap opening up. Have I missed something? No, it doesn't look like he's slowing. It doesn't look like he's lost any pace. He just looks like he was going a little bit slower than I thought. So maybe I've missed something there. Looked like he might have slowed ever so slightly because the gap has come down a little bit, to be fair. It was sitting a lot lower. Now it's jumped up. So the gap is dropping. The gap is coming down pretty rapidly, but not rapidly enough. So whatever's happened to David O'Hart, that's not going to affect him too much. As here he is cruising. David O'Hart is cruising then. Race is over, and David O'Hart, is he stopping? He's really slowing. David O'Hart, down towards the last corner. Has he got an issue? David O'Hart coming to a crawl through the last corner, and he's been leading all of this race, and now has he got an issue? David O'Hart through the last corner, and Taylor Bradley is going to cross the line, and surely he's going to win the race. Yes, he has. Taylor Bradley wins this race. David O'Hart with an issue. Cross the line in second, and like it happened to David Brabham in 1971, it seems like it's happened again. Klaus Christensen in third. Michael Gall in fourth. What on earth has happened to David O'Hart? I thought he had an issue. I thought he was slowing. Indeed, he is slowing. Taylor Bradley has won here in Brown's Hat. I do not know what on earth has happened then. That is one of the most bizarre scenes I've ever seen in all of my commentary career. The race leader, I presume, is run out of fuel. Or something's gone on there which I've not missed. He looked like he was slowing the lap before. And then all of a sudden, coming out of Stirling, he suddenly just slowed to a crawl out of Clark Curve to a near stop. Well, that there is near incredible. Everyone has finished this race. There across the line, Wilkin Hotai has crossed the line there in 5th and 6th. Dehen is going to cross the line in 7th. And then we're waiting for John Pierre will cross the line, the last car, down in 8th. But that, incredible. I have no idea what on earth I have just witnessed then. That they're incredible. Well, that's going to take a bit of a debriefing to do, but there we go. Session is over. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the stream then. As you can see, your official rundown. Taylor Bradley from David Ohak. Klaus Christensen ahead of Michael Goch. Damian Wilk ahead of Harry Hotti. Patrick Dehen, Vizarek Dodovak ahead of Jean-Pierre Assassi ahead of Vizarek Dodovak and George Hull last of the order then. As we shall now switch to the pre-race screen then in the background. And we can go and mute the desktop audio. So, let's go and get some drivers in, if we've got any of them in our little driver thing. Let's have a look then. Down here, have we got any of my little friends joining us in the waiting for interview? As they do some donuts. We just wait a few seconds time as they're actually all doing donuts. So we watch them doing donuts for a second. Let's go back. Let's have a look. Can we get them doing donuts? There we go. They're going to stop doing donuts. I swear, if you just stop doing donuts and I can't back to you, I'm going to be so disappointed in you. No, don't do it. Nah, do donuts. Oh, they're not going to do donuts. I thought we were going to look at them do donuts. I switched back to it and they've all returned to the pit lane. How cruel of them. We'll go back to the pre-race screen then. Let's see if we get any of the drivers in the interview room. Let's wait a few seconds then, and then we should be getting, hopefully, some interviews if anyone wishes to join us. We'll be waiting a few seconds time. Well, it's been a very quiet, but then all of a sudden very dramatic race here today, as it all really kicked off at the last few seconds. And, well, I mean, we'll see what happens there afterwards, and ups and downs. We'll also wait just a few seconds, and if anyone is going to join me in the thing, hopefully they do so in the next few moments' time. And, well, don't forget, I've got to give my top 3 drive of the days. I'm going to give it to Apex as well. That, of course, being Bradley. I'm going to give the other one to... I'm going to give it to David Ohag. He drove beautifully in this race. And I'm going to say Klaus Christensen also didn't put a foot wrong. So, your top 3 all are going to be my drivers of the day. As good news, we have someone to interview. Let's drag him in. Let's have a look. It's first interview for me for a long time. Let's drag someone in then. There's Apex. There we go. The man who, good news, Apex. The 99% of deliveries worked. So, apart from Dexter's and also second place. Now, I've got a question to you. Were you expecting that on the line all of a sudden to see the leader stopped? Indeed, I think potentially a fuel-related issue. It definitely looked like it because he was slowing, and then, of course, coming out of the last corner just completely slowed. So, a fuel-related issue. But, of course, your race already came along. You did the undercut strategy on Dexter. I think it's Dexter. Take us through that. Were you expecting the undercut to be that powerful? Indeed. Well, talking of Dexter, because he's just joined the interview, we'll drag him in as well. We'll have multiple people in here. Why not? We'll have a little discussion. So we'll drag Dexter in, because I don't think he knows he's been dragged in yet. Dexter! Hello! Right, P3 for you then at the end of that race. A very long race for everyone. A very hot race as well. Take us through, how did you enjoy it out there? Yeah, indeed. Of course, you both of you were very close to Patrick Dehan, who was catching him until he, until I spoke and he dropped it. So the BMW looked very quick, but the Audi, of course, top three. It does seem. Do you think the Audi the strongest car of the lot in this series? Yeah, indeed, of course. Brands Hat's done next week for round 4. We will go to, any second now, it'll pop up on my screen, I can tell you off the top of my head what round we're going next. You probably know it before I do. We are, any second now, game. Let's see, where are we? 3, there we go. We are at Snetterton next week on the 18th of August. There we go, and then to Silverstone, not the final round. So Snetterton, a circuit which is very quick. Now I've driven at Snetterton before. It's a very fast circuit with lots of corners. With one which is very funny corner that some people like to talk about. But we'll talk about that next week. But are you two looking forward to that?
Quite well there. I was actually a bit sad we didn't do Olsen last week because that's one of my better tracks, so would have loved to do that. But you know what? We'll take on the challenge, so bring it on.
Yeah, and what about you? Apex? Are you looking forward to next week?
I can't wait. I love Snetterton. It's I'm gonna say one of my favorite tracks, and also having a good record in one hub at Snetterton. The only time I've ever raced it, winning it pretty comfortably in the Audi, so hopefully I can bring that next week. Maybe no practice like Dexter.
Indeed. Well, I'm gonna say, that has been that, of course. Now, I want to say thank you to One Up for letting me be here, despite me, literally just dying nearly because it is too hot and I'm melting. I've just turned to water because I've had my window shut because someone decided next door is a good time to do some building work at 8 PM. I don't know either, but until next week, of course, in 7 days' time, which hopefully we might see a CodeCon, maybe. I'll see if we can drag one in. I have been Evil. Until then, take care and speak to you soon. Goodbye from now.